If you are of a certain unwritten rules with football and your mind frame is the same way, so on and so forth, what I'm about to tell you will highlight how much things were going downhill and how it highlight, hey man, you ain't about to get no playing time. They gave me number 43 as a DB. Again, to some places, 43 may be okay at DB. But the type of football we used to, that's a telltale sign. Bro, you're going to be on the sideline. You just seen a clip that was from part one. So if you care to see what part one was about, definitely go ahead and check that out. Part one emphasized my experiences as a high school athlete, as far as specific examples from me playing baseball and how I got screwed over with that, and how I was getting screwed over with particular situations. So if you care to hear the backstory as far as it pertains to only the athletic side, definitely go ahead and check part one out. But part two is going to put more emphasis on something that's far more important than being an athlete, and that's the academic educational standpoint, i.e. why I say athletes are set up for failure. So I, as well as most of everybody else at that particular time at that school, we were engraved with doing just enough just to get by, because obviously, you know, no pass, no play. So we doing just enough to get by with 70s, so we'll be able to play our sports. I mentioned in part one that if you were a good athlete, if you were good at what you did, if you were failing a class or struggling with a class, whatever the case may be, those coaches will go take care of that for you to where you would miraculously pass that class and you will be able to play. That happened with many of us, me, myself included, which is a part of the reason I would say athletes are being set up for failure, is because throughout our experiences, excuses were being made for us. Certain things were not being emphasized. Certain things we knew nothing about. We were not learning the consequences of our actions based on somebody coming to save the day or whatever the case may be. But those particular people were only coming to save the day to ensure that we can get the win as far as it pertained to sports. Because again, that town cared nothing about academics. All they cared about was football. So if you're an athlete, you thoroughly understand what that means without me going into too much detail. So here it is, skating by with the bare minimum. Now, I was highly capable of doing more than I was doing, and I had one or two situations where I had to show that I was capable and stop being lazy and actually put forth effort, to where maybe I would fail a class the first semester, and then here it is, I have to make this extremely high grade for the second semester in order to pass for the year. I had a couple situations like that to where I showed that I was capable of doing certain things. But going through, just sliding by to where now, fast forward to my senior year. Senior year, we get these papers that has your class rank, how many people are in your class, and your GPA. Now, at that particular time, I had no clue what a GPA was, because once again, people not emphasizing certain things and sitting us down and constantly reminding us of how important said thing is. So I asked the teacher, I'm like, what is this number right here? This something point something. And I don't know how many people I had in my class. I can't remember. But what I think I do remember is that I was probably in the bottom 200 of our class. And we had at least over 700 people, maybe 800, maybe 900. But whatever it was, I was in the bottom 200, was not doing good at all. And so the teacher is explaining to me that your GPA is used in order to get you into colleges. Whatever college you're trying to apply to, they're going to have requirements for you to be accepted. And if your GPA is not high enough, essentially you won't be accepted, just keeping it there. So I'm looking like, wow, why am I just now finding out about this? Like, that's a problem. Academic, educational wise, y'all, as in the entire staff, are supposed to be doing your job to prepare us for life after high school. But once again, if it wasn't about football, as far as athletes, I don't know about nobody else, but as far as athletes, they didn't care. They just wanted to get on that field, get on that court, get on that baseball field and entertain us, do what you need to do to get us the win. Then once you graduate, we're going to wipe our hands with you and we're going to move on to the next group of kids. I emphasized that in part one. So that's what we were going through, to where I wouldn't know what a GPA was until my senior year, which is extremely embarrassing and extremely sad. So applying for colleges, obviously my range of colleges I can apply to is not that great, but also situations financial wise and different circumstances, it was best that I went the community college route. And so that's what I did. So now here it is, I'm at the community college, and here it is, an advisor is asking me, hey, do you qualify for academic scholarship? Once again, just like the GPA thing, I didn't know what an academic scholarship was. I knew I had an idea of what a full ride was as far as it pertains to sports, but even that, it wasn't explained that, no, that's the same thing as a scholarship. So I didn't know what an academic scholarship was. Another problem that wasn't emphasized. So didn't qualify for that. Now here it is in my first year or so of college. I'm in a bad state of depression, and I just keep it short. From an athletic standpoint, like I said in part one, if you're bred to be an athlete and that's all that you know, to have that ripped away from me by the hands of coaches in my particular situation, to have that ripped away from me by coaches, and then here it is, my mom and stepdad at that time are getting a divorce, my relationship ending because got cheated on, lost my job, and again, I'm only 18, 19, lost my job, grades are horrible, GPA is in the dirt, and this is college-wise because I'm failing classes and I'm withdrawing from classes, not understanding that there's a particular limit to you withdrawing out of these classes before it starts impacting your GPA, or there's specific dates that you have to withdraw by, whatever the case may be. Not understanding any of that. So my GPA is in the dirt trash. I got all this different stuff going on, and I've always internally been in a dark place until, you know, somewhere in my 20s when I started, you know, things started going good for me, start operating from a different spiritual point and so on and so forth. But up until that point, internally, I was always in a dark, just bad place. But on the surface, everything seemed fine because my life wasn't bad in that sense. I didn't have it the worst. I definitely didn't have it the best, but I definitely didn't have it the worst either. But internally wise, what people don't know is that I was always in a dark place. And so here it is, you got a person that's already in a dark place, and then all these different things are going on at this one particular time to put me in the worst state of depression that I had ever been in. I was on the verge of dropping out of school. Well, what stopped me, because I said F everything. I was done. I didn't care about nothing. I was about to get involved in a lot of stuff, about to do a lot of dumb stuff that I won't go into detail about. But what stopped me from dropping out was the fact that when I was around 7 or so, somewhere up in there, I vividly remember waking up in the middle of the night, always seeing my mom at this table with papers and books just stacked everywhere. She writing stuff down, got the tape recorder playing, the lecture that she had got, whether it was that week or that day or the day before, or whatever the case may have been. She was always, and I'm talking about wee hours of the morning, like I'm waking up to use the restroom, go get water, go get something to drink, cookies, chips, whatever I was getting up for. Vividly remember walking by her at this table. Many times she would be asleep on the table, just head down, sleep, or whatever the case may be. Now, I didn't understand the context of it, but I knew it was something school related. So fast forward to before everything started going downhill, as far as all that stuff that I just mentioned, as far as the depression, at some particular point when I was 18 or so, my mom explained to me, she put context on what I was seeing. And she told me why I seen all that, why she was doing all of what she was doing. And all of it dealt with me. So here it is. She painted a broad picture for me to where I was like, oh, that's why you was doing all of that. So she put emphasis in context that she was putting, and this is not her words, this is what I got from it. She put her life on hold by going back to school because for me, put love on hold for me, because she didn't want anybody coming in or whatever. Her focus was me, as a parent should. But it's a selfless thing to whatever age my mom was at the time, whatever age she was. She probably was in her, probably just hitting 30 or something like that. But to put her life on hold to start doing things for me, that just, my love for my mom was already at an all-time high, but they just put that much more emphasis on the type of love my mom had for me and what she would do for me, that she would put a lot of things on hold that would be unfair to her in her individual life, but she did it for me. So from that standpoint, now coming to me being depressed and about to drop out, what stopped me from dropping out was thinking, hey man, my mom done went through so much to put me in a position to be successful in whatever it is that I do. I owe it to her. The least I can do is to repay her by staying in school and graduating because of the sacrifices she made to put me in this particular position. So that was all the motivation I needed in order to stay in school. So my GPA is starting to come up. It's not up to where it needs to be at that particular time. I'm going throughout my first 3 years of college, still at the community college. So I applied for this particular school, didn't get accepted the first time, which is no sweat. And it's actually probably a good thing because the school that I was applying for, I think you had to have like a 2.3 or 2.5 somewhere up in there in order to be accepted. Obviously, I wasn't there yet. But this particular school, I went on a school visit. And boy, let me tell you, all them beautiful women that was around. Mind you, I'm only about 21. So my mind's still heavy on women. And so, to put emphasis on it, where I come from, you know of all these people because it's a small town, so you're attracted to them for reasons other than just looks and so on and so forth. And so, out of a group of 20 where I'm from, it may be 5 that you're willing to pursue in that way. And for me, it may be about 5 out of that group of 20. This college that I took a visit to, that I was trying to get into, out of that 20, if not all 20 of them, maybe 18, you're going to think about pursuing, because I'm going to leave it there. So the women that's there, I'm thinking to myself, again, I'm pushing 21 at this time, if not already 21. I'm thinking to myself, I'm in a way better headspace. I'm a lot more focused. I done been through what I done been through to understand I got to grind and actually finish school. I started thinking, if you go to this school, man, with all these beautiful women, on top of that, it's a party school, and you got many other surrounding colleges that's there. It's too much distraction going on. Do you really think you're going to be able to focus if you go to that school? I knew that if I went, it was going to take me a long time to graduate, or I wasn't going to graduate at all, because I was going to be distracted more so by the women, possibly have a baby or some babies at that time. Who would? It was just a lot of things coming in my mind to where it's like, nah, dog, don't do that. Find a different school. So I found a different school. Now jump into this part to try to hurry up and end it, because it's still a long video. So I get accepted into this school, smaller town. You got enough to get into, but it's also a lot of downtime to where you can focus on your schoolwork. So perfect fit for what I need. So even though I'm now motivated to do what I need to do, I'm still kind of going with the motions in a sense, until it comes to this particular class, probably like my junior year, because when I first got to that college, I was a sophomore, but I was probably like 21, so I'm one of the old head sophomores. So maybe like my junior year, I'm taking this particular class, and I'm not doing good in this class because I'm still not fully invested. And this particular class is now getting into those more serious classes that you need in order to graduate, because it's dealing with your major. So typical fashion, me not doing so well in that class, it comes to the end of the semester, and I come to the professor. I'm like, I'm on the verge of graduating next year, or whatever the case may be. But if I fail this class, that's going to push that back, because just how the classes are falling, or whatever the case may be. And I'm talking to him about this, and I'm asking him if he could just please just pass me, or whatever the case may be. Still in that same mind frame from an athlete. Now, what was not going to work out in my favor from jump, this particular professor, and he let it be known every single day, he despised athletes. So here it is, what would be still an athletic mind frame type person coming to a person that despises athletes to do him a favor. Off top, he said no. Now, if I was in a younger mind frame, what I was once in, that probably would have pissed me off, him saying no, and I probably would have been mad at him because he wasn't passing me, and I would have blamed him and all this other type of stuff. But again, I'm in a lot better mental space. I'm a lot more mature. I think about things differently. So when he said no, in that moment, I started reflecting on all of my teachers and professors before that said yes, that could have opened my eyes to the seriousness of reality. They could have opened my eyes a lot sooner than what this professor did. So here it is, throughout my entire life, I couldn't pinpoint a particular teacher that just meant that much to me, that changed my life. No teacher stood out like that. Now, did I have some good teachers? Yes. But did any of them stand out as far as like, this particular teacher is the reason why, so on and so forth? No, nowhere close to it. But this professor, the professor that said no, is the professor that to this day, and here pretty soon I'm going to reach out to him again, but this particular professor that said no just so happens to be the professor that I commend so much. He gave me context of why he was saying no. This man was passionate about the field I was getting ready to go into, and he was saying that he does not, now he said I'm capable, but I'm not ready to get into that field yet, and he wouldn't be able to rest by passing me while knowing I'm not ready to be in the field, so on and so forth. So I couldn't do nothing but respect it. My hat went off to him, and from that point on, and I respected him anyway, but from that point on, my respect for him grew to where, like I said, even to this day, and this is back in, when did I graduate? 2014 from college. This is way back from 2012 or 2013 to 2014 of me knowing him to where now present day, I still reach out to him throughout, a couple years may go by, whatever the case may be, or if I have something that I want to reach out to him, appreciating him again. But he's the only professor that ever stood out in my life that has changed my life. Now, I gave all of that story to put emphasis on how much a person could go through in order to get to that point. But you know what the kicker is? Imagine the amount of people that did not have the motivation that I had as far as what motivated me, or did not have the resources, or did not have a professor to wake them up to get them on the right path to start thinking a lot different and to be focused. Imagine how many people, which is a lot, imagine how many athletes don't get to that point and they fall into a trap of getting involved in the streets, getting involved in nonsense, get in a state of depression that I think goes unnoticed because, one, they may not talk about it, may not have somebody to talk to about, or people can't identify it. But imagine the amount of previous athletes that don't make it to that point. That's why I'm saying athletes are set up for failure. Again, I know this video was extremely long, but it was necessary to give emphasis on a problem that I think we often overlook. Appreciate y'all watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe.